You have been told your entire life that the night sky is a peaceful sanctuary, that the universe is distant, beautiful, and completely harmless. But that is a comforting lie. The truth is, space is an active graveyard of worlds. When you look closely at the corpses of our neighboring planets, a terrifying pattern emerges. They didn't just quietly fade away. They were killed. Which brings us to the most dangerous question in science. What is the single thing that kills an entire planet? And more importantly, does Earth already have the symptoms? To find the answer, we have to investigate the cosmic crime scene right in our own backyard. You would logically assume that the closer you are to the sun, the faster you die. Mercury seems to prove this. From its scorched surface, our star is a giant sphere of nuclear fire, pushing daytime temperatures above 400 degrees Celsius. But Mercury hides our first clue. The heat isn't the true killer. Because Mercury has almost no atmosphere to hold on to that warmth. The exact moment darkness arrives, the temperature violently crashes to minus 180 degrees. It swings endlessly between incineration and deep freeze. Mercury didn't die just because of the sun. It died because it couldn't hold on to a shield. But what happens when a shield turns against you? This brings us to Venus. If you want to know what Earth's death might look like, you don't need to use your imagination. You just need to look next door. Billions of years ago, Venus was Earth's identical twin. It had vast, deep oceans. It was a world capable of harboring life. But then, something flipped. A single mechanism broke, and Venus lost control of its own climate. The atmosphere thickened, trapping solar heat in a runaway greenhouse effect. Today, beneath its toxic clouds, the atmosphere is so heavy that the surface pressure would crush a human body in seconds. It rains sulfuric acid. The surface is nearly 500 degrees Celsius, even hotter than Mercury. Venus is the smoking gun in our investigation. It is a terrifying, present-day warning for Earth. Humanity dreams of reaching Mars, but Mars is not waiting to welcome us. It is the corpse of a world that was once alive. Billions of years ago, rivers carved through its surface, and a thick atmosphere protected it. Then, Mars lost something essential. Its internal core cooled and died. Its magnetic shield collapsed. Without protection, relentless solar radiation slowly stripped the atmosphere away. Today, it is a frozen desert drenched in radiation, where colossal dust storms consume entire continents. Olympus Mons rises nearly 3 times higher than Mount Everest, standing as a silent tombstone on a dead planet. Mars is not just a destination, it is a vision of planetary extinction. And beyond it, we drift through a vast field of debris.
And beyond the rocky planets, the massive gas giants stand as ancient, terrifying witnesses to this violence. Jupiter, a colossal storm system where there is no solid ground. It is a violent, chaotic force of nature that has survived simply by being too massive to kill. As gravity drags matter deeper toward the core, pressure rises to unimaginable extremes, transforming hydrogen into a crushing ocean of liquid metal. The Great Red Spot, a violent cyclone wider than our entire planet, has been churning without rest for centuries. And then there is Saturn, beautiful, pale, golden. But beauty in the cosmos is a deception. Those brilliant rings are not solid. They're a violent storm of trillions of ice and rock fragments circling the planet like blades. The deeper we look, the stranger and darker it becomes. Far beyond Saturn, sunlight begins to die. Here, Uranus rolls through space horizontally, its atmosphere a frigid ocean plunging toward absolute zero, an abandoned relic trapped forever in the dark. And finally, Neptune, the last giant, a world that should be frozen and still. Yet its atmosphere erupts with supersonic winds exceeding 2,000 kilometers per hour, a planet of endless storms wandering violently through the cold frontier. Beyond this, there is nothing but interstellar night, an ocean of darkness stretching farther than the human mind can comprehend. And amidst this graveyard of stripped, crushed, and frozen worlds, there is Earth. A fragile anomaly wrapped in a paper-thin, almost invisible membrane of air. Everything humanity has ever known, loved, and achieved exists beneath that delicate, highly sensitive layer. Planets exist on a razor-thin edge between survival and absolute annihilation. But look closely at the symptoms. Our climate is shifting. Our atmospheric balance is fundamentally changing. We are currently triggering the exact early stages of the Venus collapse. In this cosmic graveyard, Earth is still breathing. To understand how a planet dies, you cannot look at the oceans or the mountains. You have to look at the invisible. Venus didn't burn because it moved closer to the sun. It burned because its atmosphere became an inescapable trap, a one-way mirror for heat. Right now, our cooling systems are failing. The ice is collapsing. The oceans are absorbing a lethal fever. But the climate is only half the threat. Remember the fate of Mars. Deep beneath our feet, the molten engine generating our magnetic shield is shifting. Our magnetic field, the only thing stopping the solar wind, is actively weakening and flickering. The heat is rising. The shield is failing. The balance is breaking. We are not just observing the graveyard. We are standing on the edge of it. Just like Venus, our oceans are absorbing the fever, but the water can only hold so much heat before it turns acidic. Just like Mercury, the land is baking, forests turn to ash, and the soil fractures under the weight of an unnatural sun. And as our magnetic shield weakens, just like Mars, the raw, stripping power of the sun breaches our defenses. The graveyard is not a distant place. It is exactly where we are standing. We look up and finally see the universe not for what we wished it was, but for what it truly is. Earth is currently suspended at the tipping point, a world actively fighting off the symptoms of its own graveyard. If the balance finally breaks, the universe will not mourn us. The oceans will boil into steam, leaving behind nothing but endless white scars of salt. Our great cities, the monuments of human ego, will buckle and melt under the crushing pressure. And when the last of our defenses fall, the solar wind will strip away the very sky itself. Earth will silently take its place in the cosmic graveyard. But that is a future that hasn't happened yet. Time is still moving forward. The choice is ours. We are the first species in the history of this graveyard with the conscious power to change our planet's fate. To survive, we cannot just be passengers. We must become the planetary shield. We have the intelligence to draw the fever out of the oceans and stabilize the beating heart of our climate. We have the power to reawaken the dead Earth and reverse the collapse of the lungs of our world, and to pull the toxic blanket from our skies, piece by piece, until the air is clear again. We are not destined to become another silent tombstone, because unlike the rest of the graveyard, Earth has us. We can rebuild the ice, we can stitch the atmosphere back together, and drop the fever that threatens to boil our oceans, turning our sprawling, heavy cities into living, breathing extensions of the planet itself. The solar wind will still howl in the dark, but our shield will turn its deadly fire into a breathtaking dance of light. The human standing in the wasteland does not have to be our final chapter. If we make the right choice, Earth will not be just another corpse floating in the dark. It will be a beacon of defiance, a fortress of life in an ocean of death. We are no longer just surviving. We are becoming the architects of this system, turning a cosmic graveyard into a thriving garden. But the graveyard remains. In the shadows, the remnants of our violent beginnings still drift. We have already sent our voices into the void, messages in a bottle, cast into an infinite sea of darkness. But as we look out at the billions of stars in our galaxy, we must ask the most terrifying question of all. Is the universe silent because no one else is out there? Or is it silent because the rest of the universe is a graveyard too? If that is true, then our responsibility is absolute. We must survive, not just for us, but for the universe itself. We are the cosmos finally waking up and looking back at itself. If the galaxy is a graveyard of dead worlds, then it is our destiny to be the gardeners. To carry the flame of consciousness across the dark and resurrect the silent, forgotten stones of the cosmos. The same stars that once burned planets to ash will be harnessed to fuel our expansion. We will spread not like a virus, but like a cure, turning a silent, empty universe into a thriving empire of light. The solar system may have been born as a graveyard, but it will be remembered as the cradle. But a vision is not a guarantee. The universe does not care about our potential. Every single day, we stand exactly on the borderline between the garden and the graveyard. The choice does not belong to the future. It belongs to the people alive right now, today. Look at that pale blue dot. That is our only life raft in an ocean of fire and ice. Will we be the spark that finally lit the universe, or just another silent rock in the graveyard?